What's going on, guys? Joe Ghost here, and welcome to my fourth episode, I think, is of in the studio session. So for this one, I wanted to try something a little different, and I wanted to ask you guys through Facebook and Twitter what song you wanted me to show you how I made. And majority of you guys answered my House of Now remix of the MOTi track. So here it is. But before we get into it, I just want to show you guys, explain to you how I came to making it. House of Now is a track that I love. MOTi did such a great job on it. The melody in it, it's amazing. And I just wanted to add my own spin to it. I've been playing a lot of like the bass house music in my sets now, so I wanted to add that spin to the track. So it took me about 2 or 3 days to make, and then I tested out at a few shows. It went really well. I sent it off to Tiesto and MOTi. They loved it, and then a few weeks later, it was available for you guys. So let's jump into it. The first thing I started with for this track was the kick, and the reason I did that was because I'm working with parts that had already been mixed and mastered from the original track. So I had to find a balance of where the track would sit in loudness in comparison to the original project. So using the kick as a starting point, because that's the main focus of the track, is you could balance all the rest of the parts out and mix it to the kick so everything sounds in unison with the parts I'm using from the original track. So the kick I used is actually a kick that I've used in a few of my tracks. It's one that I made off the Nicky Romero plugin kick. So the track is in a kick of the key of G, and so this is what it sounds like, just the kick. So it has my top end in it, it has my click in it, it has a nice like low end to it. It's just well balanced, and because it's been mixed and bounced out so many times, I didn't need any processing on it, just straight to it. So a trick I want to show you guys is for the kick is the most important thing is that your kick is in the key of the actual song that you're playing in with your bass line. Just to make it sound better. So if you're using something that's not key labeled, or a kick that you're not sure what key it's in already, or you can't figure it out, there's two ways. The first way is pretty much the standard ways, where you draw in your notes on MIDI with using like a bass tone or something, and you just move the notes up and down on the MIDI spectrum just to like until you hear it being in the right key with the kick, and then you can figure out where it is. So for example, I'll create a new MIDI clip and then draw in the notes. So here's, for example, so I'm going to insert silence into it and do it in this preset. So right now it's playing in a G. So if I move it up and down, you can see that it sounds like it's going lower. It's not exactly in tune with the key. If I put it back to G, you hear that's like in unison with the kick. I go higher, you can hear like it's rising up above. So once you find that sweet spot where it sounds like it's in unison, playing the same note, that's how you could tell which key it is. So right here it's a G. The other way is using a plugin that comes with Ableton. It's called Note. Stick it in, and basically on the spectrum where it hits, the highest point is where the key's coming through. So as you can see here, it's G0, the highest point. And if you need to change the key, if I transpose it up one tone, which is a semitone, you can see that it'll move up in the spectrum to G sharp. Right there. So that's a useful tool in figuring out what key and utilizing the key for your track. So after I was happy with the kick, I started with the notes, and what I did was I started with the bass. Since this track's so bass driven, I basically found a melody in the notes that I liked. So it's just basically a simple sine saw that I made it massive, and then I do what I always do for my bass lines. I put it in mono, added a simple sidechain to it, and then just EQ'd the low end. So basically anything below 30, any of the frequencies in the low end, you don't really hear to the human ears. In club systems, some of it might come through, but it's just taking up extra space that could be used up here and stuff. So I just did a cut and then a really high cut so the leads could come through. And that's a processing I did on it. So with the kick together, it's a really cool groove. So then after I was happy with that, I went into finding the main lead. And the thing with the bass house is it's such a cool, like, dubstep-y, modern talking, really aggressive sound. So what I did was I went through Massive and I made a patch that sounds like this. It's here. It's here. So you hear the saw wave, you hear the modern talking, the cutoff in it. And then what I did was I recorded that note and then I bounced it down to an audio file. And in these tracks it's important that each individual hit has a presence, because the track's so bare, but there's this main lead sound that's just driving the whole song in these bass house tracks. So I wanted to be able to go in manually and draw my filters and my cutoffs and my volume shaping, just so everything was placed exactly how I heard it. So as you can see here, it's everything that I bounced down to audio and then edited furthermore with like the cutoffs and the filters. So here's what it sounds like all together. And now there's a lot of processing on it. I'll show you what everything I have on is doing. So I'll turn everything off. So the first thing I do is add EQ. So I did a low cut, and then I wanted the mid range to really drive through in the track. So you can see I gave a boost, a really drastic boost up here in the 200 frequency and the around 1100 frequency. So then I added a sausage fattener because I just wanted the track to be compressed and brightened up a bit. So with that on. And then I added a reverb, which is just a wet plate. It gives it a lot of like space. And then I added my sidechain. And the reason I added it after the reverb is because I wanted to create a like sucking effect with the space that the reverb created. So with that on, and then I added a Saturn, which is a saturator. So it gave it I just added a bit of drive, which is a bit of distortion. And now here's where the trick of everything happens. It sounds really straight because it's all one note playing. I added this plugin by Waves called Sound Shifter, and basically what it does is it changes the pitch of the track. So it creates a more of a groove where the sound track's like it's gliding down and gliding up. So as you can see, the arrangement, what I do on it, automation, is you see how here I pick it up, so the pitch goes up and then goes down, then it slowly drives up again, up until the part loops over again. So you can see the piece moving, and with it on, you see like it makes a big difference in the whole groove of the track. It really creates the whole dynamics of the lead. And then at the end I added the L1, which is just basically a limiter. Because there's so much processing, I just wanted to make sure that nothing was peaking. So all together. So the next thing is I noticed that after the build-up came into the drop, it sounded too stiff if I had the same note hitting on the first kick. So I needed to find a different sound. So what I went into was Silent, and I found this really cool, it's called Hard Noise Roll. And I added a lot more distortion to it. So this is what it is. This is it without it, the distortion. See, distortion adds a lot of like overdrive to it. So with the lead and the kick, it creates a way more of an impact when it drops. So after that part, I moved into the drums, which is pretty much one of the most important parts also of this track, because there's so much aggressiveness coming from the mid and the low end. You need something to counter it with the high end, and just something to create more of a groove, just to counter that aggressiveness. So we'll start the claps. I have two different layers of claps. One more of a snappy one, and then I have a hi-hat, and then some loops I've made. I had a rise and some fills. So all together. Now, for the master chain, I basically mix and master this track differently how I would used to. Basically for the fact that, because I was mixing off a track that was already mixed and mastered, I had to like find a unison between that. So I mixed into nothing on the master, so this whole chain was empty. And basically when you do that, the benefit of that is you're adjusting each sound so it sounds perfect. Basically without anything on the master. So when you're going into the mastering phase, you don't really need to add too much because you're already happy with the sound. You just need to tweak it so it just sounds better on a majority of the system. So it's a really easy and quick master channel. Added some EQ, just cut off the low frequencies which you don't hear. Simple compressor which acts as like a glue and just gives a little more pumping louder effect. And then just a simple limiter just in case the track is peaking and just gives some more headroom. Alright guys, that's how I made the track. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something today. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. And let me know what else you want to learn. Take care.